So this is basically like a trip report. If you don't know what a trip report is, I apologize. I'll explain it to you, but if you're not interested in that, you can go to another one of my videos. Going forward, just real quick before I get into it, there's only going to be a few different topics I touch on my channel, and I hope you're interested. If you're not, then please feel free to unsubscribe. If you are interested, please stay tuned because I'm trying to help everyone here. If it's not about psychedelics, bettering yourself, God, and reality as a totality, I'm not going to talk about it. It's just, I'm not going to do it anymore. But this is a trip report about 5-MeO DMT. I know if you've been watching me for any period of time, you would know that I'm a, I guess you would say a psychedelic aficionado. I don't know how else to say it. Taken well over 200 trips at this point, whether it be LSD, psilocybin, DMT, etc. At this point, there's only two things I have not done that I want to do, and then except for that, I'm done. Well, I'm not done with psychedelics. I'll do them for a while, but I want to do ayahuasca, which I do have a open invitation anytime I would like to go to Kentucky to take part in an ayahuasca ceremony. And mescaline, which is peyote, I'm having a difficult time of finding. So if you know where it's at and you know how I could get it shipped to me, it would be appreciated. I'm not trying to get anyone to partake in any illegal activity at all, but if you know where it's at and you know how to get it to me, I would be extremely grateful and you would be repaid for your services. So, 5-MeO trip report, I'm going to compare the 5-MeO to LSD and psilocybin. So, the 5-MeO, I did do just I've heard conflicting things about how much I should take at first. So, I did take probably a little over a point, which I don't know how to describe it in milligrams. 1 point of a gram was what I did the first time. And I can describe it as this. I got about 4 hits in, maybe 5, but I did mix some flour on top of it. So I think the first hit or two was mainly flour. I had 1 hit left and I could not finish it just because. Okay, I'll explain it to you like this. About I'm going to say the first 2 hits were flour, so the last 3 hits was pure 5-MeO DMT. Took huge hits, held it for quite an extended period of time. After that third hit, it was like my body kind of went numb. I could not hold the bowl in my hand anymore, so I set the bowl down. And then I remember thinking, dude, you can finish that last hit. Let's do it. And then I closed my eyes for a second, and I just couldn't. I couldn't even move my body to try to take the last hit. So when this happened, essentially it was like it looked like a huge elevator, and I shot up the elevator. And then once I got to the top of that elevator, I don't want to say an elevator, it was just like I got shot up to the top of something. And then there was these weird geometrical patterns, and they just kept rotating and rotating. And then eventually it like rotated and turned up like this. And the patterns like melded into one thing, and then at the center of that one thing was a ball, and the ball and the pattern spun around to the point to where you couldn't see anything. It was just like everything connected as one. Once everything connected as one, it looked like I was going back down the elevator for a split second, but then I was shot off. It looked like I blasted off into a kind of like I was in a rocket ship, and I was blasting off to the side to reach some destination. Now, unfortunately, at this point, this was probably about 10 minutes. 10 minutes of all this happening. I opened my eyes up. I do not know why. I should not have done it. But once I opened my eyes up, it was like the walls were vibrating. There was a weird, vibrant color to them. It was like it was in extremely high definition at that point. And I tried to close my eyes back, and I saw patterns, but it was not like it was before. And I regret opening my eyes up at that point because I would like to know where that was taking me. However, after talking to a couple of people, one person in particular that has always led me the right way, I feel like that I did not do as much as I should have, and I also feel like that I did not take it in the right manner. So, for example, I should have used the vaporizer. However, I used a bowl and put a little bit of bud or flour at the bottom of it and a little bit on top of it. And I think where it was my first time doing 5-MeO, it kind of honestly freaked me out a little bit. So I didn't know what to expect, so I was a little nervous about it. I do plan on I have quite a bit more, and I plan on getting quite a bit more. So I will update you consistently on my experiences with 5-MeO. So now I want to compare that with, because there's only a few psychedelics I would recommend you doing: LSD, psilocybin, NN-DMT, 5-MeO DMT, and ayahuasca and mescaline. So essentially, those are 5 different things, but you can, in all reality, condense them down into 3 or 4 different things, right? So my favorite psychedelic, I can tell you to this point, is LSD, without a doubt. I have learned more and experienced more and have grown more from LSD than any other thing. So, but first, let's go into psilocybin. Now, there's other psychedelics I've done, but I wouldn't consider them up here with this, you know. So these are the main things I'm talking about. With I'm going to go with psilocybin mushrooms first. Now, psilocybin mushrooms will, it's kind of like you connect to a spirit, and that spirit tells you what you are or aren't doing wrong in a nice way. It doesn't focus on just the negative. It like talks about the negative and then sprinkles in the positive with it, what you're doing. But it mainly hits on the negative, like, hey, you could change this about yourself, and you could do that better, and you could treat people better. Be thankful for what you have. Quit doing stupid shit. These are messages I have got from the plants, essentially the mushrooms, over the years I have done them. I don't do psilocybin mushrooms as much as I do LSD. I just want that to be upfront. I probably take mushrooms about 4 times a year, sometimes more, but I just want to let that be known. Like, you take psilocybin and you're going to connect to your spirit, and it's going to tell you what you aren't doing wrong, what you aren't doing right, and it's going to sprinkle in what you are doing right a little bit. And that could be anywhere between a 6 to 12 hour trip, depending on how much you take. And just for an example, I've had a couple bad trips on psilocybin, and minutes seem like hours with it. But at the end of the day, you'll wake up the next day and you'll learn stuff about yourself that you need to do to progress further. So again, shrooms will let you connect to the spirit world and let you see what you're doing wrong. LSD will show you what you really have in front of you. My most profound experience has been on LSD. I went to a void. I got plucked out of my life. I saw the world create itself. I realized this was heaven. I have realized what the ego was. I have battled myself in my head multiple times with LSD and came out on top every time. So that is, for me, LSD is the best psychedelic so far that I've done known to man. But again, I just want to wait and see how much further I can get into the DMT before I make a final decision. And I would love to try that ayahuasca. Even though NN-DMT, 5-MeO DMT, and ayahuasca is pretty much one and the same, it's just different, a little bit of tweaks here and there. So now the DMT, I just explained the whole experience with the DMT so far. And that pretty much, it's like the psilocybin connects you to the spirit world. The LSD lets you see what's in front of you and lets you realize this is not as real as you perceive it to be. And the DMT takes you to a different reality in total, if that makes any sense. It's a weird and wild experience thus far. But again, I'm going to steadily increase my doses until I get to the point to where I want to take a huge dose of it. Not only do I want to take a huge dose of that, but I want to mix that huge dose of DMT with a huge dose of LSD and a semi-decent amount of psilocybin. I want to do the trifecta of psychedelics and come back to you and tell you what I've experienced through that. So, first trip report from 5-MeO DMT is it's a wonderful, blissful experience. You get blasted off into a different reality than what you think you're in. You see wild and weird patterns. And I forgot to mention this. When I was done taking it, like when it wore off, I went outside to smoke a bowl, and like a bowl of flower, and smoke a cigarette. And dude, the whole entire world, I could hear it. I could hear everything around me. I could see things that I normally didn't see. And it's not like LSD and psilocybin. I've been able to see things on the LSD and psilocybin I've not been able to see normally, and hear things I've not been able to hear normally. But this was like to another degree. I live in the mountains pretty much, right? So I walked outside and I could hear a turtle walking up in the woods. I could see faces in trees and in leaves in the woods. I could hear squirrels from from a decent distance that I shouldn't be able to hear them from. I could see dew on leaves that you normally shouldn't be able to see on leaves. It's fucking wild, man. So again, my main priority here at the end of the day is to experiment with these psychedelics, help better people, and prove God's existence through psychedelics, and prove what reality really is through these psychedelics. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, you have to take psychedelics to experience this or to know this. I'm just saying you don't have to constantly do them. I truly believe that if you can do mushrooms, LSD, or DMT a handful of times throughout your life, your entire life would get better with someone like me or someone else guiding you along the way. Unfortunately, I partook in this journey solo, my friends, so it was kind of rough for me. I went into it blind. The good thing is I'm going to be here for you. If you don't trust me, there's other people out here that has supposedly undertook this journey. I just don't know how far they really went with it. I don't know if they're taking these substances for fun. It appears to me that they are for the most part. And I'm not downplaying anyone. There's people on here like psych substances, like Dakota from Earth, like your mate Tom, other people. I'm not judging them. I'm not being rude or I'm not being negative. I think at the end of the day, they're trying to do a good thing. But I also think at the end of the day, they are promoting this as something that it's not. It is not fun. There's other people too, Goblin, X Code or whatever, and that fucking Eric, whoever. These dudes that just smoke. I'm not knocking them, dude. If I could just sit and smoke weed and tell bullshit stories and get paid for it, I would do it. But they've not came out on the other side of these substances. They're still stuck within a fictional reality, unfortunately. So this is a trip report. Love you guys. Hope you're having a great day. Remember, do not get divided by dumb, stupid shit. I am just you talking to you. Just always tell the truth. Love everyone like they're yourselves. And be here now. You have no other place to be. Talk to you guys later.